Hopefulness day 16. Alrighty. As you can tell, I haven't really done too much. I did clean a little bit and then, I made a smoothie. I forgot how easy this thing is to use. I mean, it's just like, it's ridiculous. It's a Ninja blender. I mean, it's super easy. You just, put stuff together. Where's the blade at? There it is. Because it has two little blades. It's like a little interlocking thing. You stick it in there. You stick the lid on there. Make sure it's properly angled. And then this goes on here. This is where the motor and everything is. Just sits there, and then this is the button. That's not plugged in, so it's not gonna do anything. And it blitzes like crazy. I don't remember exactly how much it was. I think I got it on Amazon. I want to say it's probably something like maybe $30. I'm forgetting what this. Oh, this is like a. Oh, I think it's for the smaller part of the. Because I've got like a. Effectively a food processor size thing too. So yeah, there's that. But I went to Sprouts. No, I didn't go to fucking Sprouts. I don't know why I keep saying Sprouts. I don't know why I want to say Sprouts. I don't know why I said Sprouts. I didn't go to Sprouts. I went to Smart and Final. And it was the one that was like right down the street from my last place. It took about 15 minutes to drive there. It's not a far distance though. But welcome to Los Angeles traffic on a Friday afternoon. Or Saturday rather, because now it's Sunday. But yeah, I went there, got a couple things. I got a loaf pan because I figure I might as well try to make some kind of bread at some point. I can't remember the last time that I actually tried to make bread from scratch. I'm gonna have to go back to the storage unit, ideally today, so that I can grab a couple more things, including my scale, because the scale is really important if you want to do any kind of baking. Scale is probably one of the most important things you can use. Because ensuring that you're weighing it out means that you're getting more accurate measurements when it comes to things like flour and stuff, because it can be easily compacted. So it's generally just a better idea. Agua. Wait, I got the other glass for this. So I'm gonna put milk in this one. Applied, I think, for 2 jobs yesterday. Both kind of similar, sort of. What was I thinking of? Similar jobs to what I've been applying for. When it comes to customer service, it's like phone inventory, stuff like that. So, because it doesn't seem difficult that I could think of. I think one of them had to do with cars. Can't remember exactly what it was about. We'll see. Oops. Throw that out. But What the hell? Is this open? No? It's weird. So I got some basil yesterday too, but like it's not completely full. So I thought like maybe it was open or something. But it's not. Now it is. Because I'm gonna open it. Woo. Smells good. In the sense that like it smells like it is good. I mean, not to say that basil is bad. It's just that I wasn't expecting so much fragrance to come hit me so much. So yeah, so now I have all the proper ingredients for my marinara. I gotta finish off these hot dogs and the hot dog buns though, because like they're about to go, so I gotta eat those today and tomorrow, and then cook up the chicken probably sometime today, so that I can make sure that it doesn't go bad, and I have it for the marinara that I currently have. And then once that marinara is done, I wash out that pot. I can use my big pot that I still need to wash. Make some more marinara, store that, and then I can store it in these little glass containers. I was thinking of making some sourdough starter too, just to kind of see if I could pull it off. Thing is it requires reasonable size container, generally a glass or plastic. I'm thinking maybe one of these cups. We'll see. But yeah, just gotta figure out some stuff. I mean, I'm not fond of working, but I hope I can get a job that pays well enough for me to just keep staying at this place, because that would be nice. Forgot to put the buttons. I mean, if I could find a place to work at, if I could find work that paid well enough for me to stay here, then I could make some real decisions about moving forward. Because otherwise, it's like every decision I'm making that has me staying here is a decision that will inevitably be reversed, which is not ideal. Oops, that's the wrong one. Nope, still the wrong button. And that's not ideal for me. I don't like. The car situation is like, it's useful and everything. At the same time, it's like that's the other issue too, is like on Wednesdays when I turn the car in, and on Wednesday morning I gotta make sure it's not parked in the wrong spot. Which is annoying because I'm not a morning person, in that I do not wake up. I kind of sort of woke up early today, but not because I wanted to. Still tired. Funny/sad thing is I have a measuring cup in the car right now. I have to go back there and wash it and everything, and then be able to use it on regular. Hot links in the hot dog buns. There's no song, just saying stuff. Go ahead and throw those out. Ah, shit. Ow, 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 ow. Put that there. Mustard on the buns. Not on the buns, that would be weird. On the dogs. On the links. And I like a lot of mustard, so. Like this bottle is too. This is not the normal size bottle that I would grab. It's just that this is more of a temporary bottle. I like the much bigger size. The much bigger size is like this tall and it's fatter and everything. It's great. Tapatio's good stuff. I get rid of that little thing on the top because it's just pointless for me. It's just the right kind of vinegar and spice. Like Tabasco is too vinegary, in my opinion, and like whatever spice that like everything feels like it's too up front, too in your face with Tabasco. Whereas Tapatio feels more like it's well balanced and, you know, just almost a melody, if you will. And it's good. I like it. So, I also bought a bottle of olive oil, and I bought this big ass bag of honey and oats granola cereal. Because I mean, you know, it's good to just have something to snack on that's like reasonably healthy. I mean, you know, it's like, what do we got in here? I mean, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of carbs, but there's good fiber too. There's 5 grams of fiber. It does have some added sugars, which is unfortunate, but you know. So you've got whole rolled oats, first ingredient, milled cane sugar, whole roasted wheat, expelled pressed canola oil, coconut, honey, cornstarch, almonds, molasses, natural flavor, salt. I wish the almonds were a little bit more forefront, but it's whatever, I guess. But the fact that the first ingredient is oats is a good thing. Oh, man. I should be able to go to Target soon to get, oh yeah, when I went to Smart and Final yesterday, I didn't actually realize it until today, which is bad, but when I went, I didn't take my driver's license with me because it's in the paper form, because it still hadn't been mailed to my mailbox. So that's frustrating. Ooh. Spicy combo. So yeah, that was eye-opening in the way that I was like, oh shit. Glad I didn't get pulled over or anything. It's the nature of my. See, like, I had considered bringing it with me, but I was like, I don't need. Well, not the. Okay. It's in my messenger bag, which is what I usually carry around with me if I need to. If I have like other things to do, typically, in some case, and especially if I need to carry more than what I think I need to carry. I didn't think in my head about the nature of it and the fact that, you know, like my driver's license is in there. So my brain decided to forego that bag entirely. I didn't realize it until this morning, and I was like, oh shit. Well, again, nothing bad happened, but obviously, you know, I gotta rectify that next time, either by pocketing it or something. So yeah, I don't need to be forgetting that. That would be bad. water is so good. I have it in the fridge now too, so I have, you know, nice and cold filtered water. And because like the filters that I have, like I'm gonna throw this damn thing away, but it's the lid for it, zero water. Kind of wish there wasn't so much disposable plastic though. It's hard, but yeah, it's like filters out a lot of stuff, and it just makes it so good. And then with the cold from the refrigerator, it makes it even better. So yeah. Probably have to get some kind of mop-like thing. Maybe a Swiffer. We'll see. Because I figure if I get those two, at the very least, since it'll be here, vacuum, mop. I could do some like basic sweeping and then vacuum most of the place and then mop up what needs to be mopped, etc. Especially if I've got, you know, like a job, a regular schedule, because then, you know, then I would have some stability when it came to being able to schedule when to do things. Whether it's on days of, you know, coming back from work type of situation, or if it's on a weekend or whatever. Yeah. So, you know, normal adult things. Adulting. Or like that episode of a video from Ryan George. Adultery. It's great. So I talked to my therapist on Friday. And he was talking to me about like how, because we were talking about careers and stuff, possibility anyway. You know what? I'm gonna change gears real quick. When I drink milk, I want to consume the ever-loving fuck out of it as quickly as possible and as much as possible. Ever since I was a kid, it didn't matter how old I was, I always enjoyed milk. And when I was a kid, we always had like 1% milk in the house. And like whole milk felt like too much. Now I drink only whole milk. If I can. I only buy whole milk. And I mean, like, the price difference isn't that big either. So it's like, and it's delicious. It's filling. Soothing. I used to get up in the middle of the night and drink the stuff when I was a kid too. Like, I'd get up and I would just start chugging out of the bottle, out of the milk carton until it was just too cold, and then I would stop. I don't know why I would do it. And now I do it with the hot dogs because they're spicy, and so it helps to counteract. Not only does it give you that cooling sensation because it's cold, but the fat and sugars can help to mitigate the heat. Even though it's not super spicy, it's just that it just helps. Plus, milk is just tasty. Now, if you're not a mutant like me, and you're lactose intolerant, because that's what, you know, humans have been for ever, it seems, then you won't be able to enjoy it. Now, I know most people, from what I understand, who are lactose intolerant, still prefer to drink milk. So much so that's why they have things like, various lactate or whatever it is, the lactose intolerance pills. Which probably is just lactase pills, now that I think about it. It's probably just helps with the enzymes to break it down, because the body stops producing it in most people by the time they're 20. And so they stop producing lactase, which is the enzyme that breaks down lactose. So yeah, that's probably what it is. I haven't ever looked into it because I never needed to. So yesterday, after I got back from the store, put some groceries up, washed a couple of things, made a smoothie, and then washed the blender out again. It's playing EverQuest because it was it's known as Pop Day. So every now and then, the game, when you're playing it, the whole world will shake, and they call it an earthquake. Even though it doesn't really seem like an earthquake, but it's whatever. It's a 1999 version of a video game earthquake. So the screen shakes for a bit, and then about a minute later, much of the entire world is reset. And in doing so, it basically resets everything. All of the potential critters and NPCs and the like, they basically disappear and then they reappear. And they respawn. But this also includes, and I'm going to call them mobs from now on, because mobs, I believe it's a Warcraft term for like mobile objective or something like that. But it's generally for NPCs that you are going to hunt down and kill for one reason or another, whether they a raid mob or just an everyday, run-of-the-mill wolf or something. So, when this happens, everybody basically stops what they're doing, and they go and they try to hit one of the big raid target mobs. And in so doing, there's really good loot that can be had, and this is why they do this. Well, last week on Saturday, at about 6:45 p.m. my time, which is kind of late, to be honest, we had an earthquake. And so my guild is like, hey, earthquake, stop what you're doing, let's go kill some stuff. I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. And last week, we did a pretty good job. Things were up. We did have a bit of a snag at one point for a bit, between a couple of bigger mobs. And we ended up getting help from another guild that we've occasionally, allied with, worked with. Because it being that time, and the nature of our guild, we're not like a super raiding guild. We do raid, but we are not what you would call a raiding guild. We do have people within the guild who are more raiding guild type mentalities, and there's sort of like this echelon of qualifications to get up there. But we're kind of, a combination of casual and raiding. And So we did a good job last week. Well, yesterday we did not. Yesterday we were either underprepared, a small hiccup caused a big problem. And see, there's this other guild that is like solid rating guild. That's really all they do. Like, everything they're doing is intentionally setting themselves up so that they can build their rating force. That's all they do. And they're highly competitive. They have a lot of members, and they're extremely good at what they're doing. And because they have a lot of members, they usually have the numbers to take down any target if they feel like. Occasionally they slip up and miss out, but generally speaking, once they engage, they're like 95% successful. With my guild, depending on the engage, we're about 50% successful, which is kind of frustrating. Now, if there's no competition from any of the other guilds, a lot of times we might fail one, maybe even 2 times, and then on our 3rd try we'll do it. We'll be successful. Because then, everything is in line, the communication's in order and all that stuff. People are, doing their roles, and everything is kind of running well oiled. With this other guild, they call it zerging, which is a term from StarCraft, another 1999 game. And one of the races that you can play, there's 3 different races. There's the Terrans, which are human. They're very mechanical. They repair things by, actually getting a guy to run over there and repair it. And their ability to expand bases is based on the fact that most of their main buildings can literally lift off the ground and, slowly float somewhere else. But the vast majority of their technology is based on, mechanical hardware. There's another race that you can play called the Protoss. They're kind of, they would be like, okay, they're psionic entities, so they effectively have this communication ability throughout. It's just the ability to communicate with each other through their minds, since they don't have mouths or anything like that. And they have shielding for their buildings, but you can't repair anything. So the building itself might get damaged, but as long as the shields remain, the shields can regenerate over time. And their expansion ability is, as long as you have what's called a pylon built somewhere, you can pretty much build near it. And so they're really easy to expand because they largely have no restrictions on how to get around. All you need is a pylon, and then you can build stuff around it and keep going and going. And then the last one is the Zerg, which is where the term comes from. They are a biological weapon, basically. They're also psionic as well, but instead of communicating, they're effectively controlled by a hive mind, and they're completely organic. Everything can regenerate hit points, so whether it's buildings, whether it's their units, whatever, they regenerate X amount of hit points per tick, usually about however many ticks, and I don't know how long a tick is. I think it's maybe like 2 or 3 seconds, something like that. But as long as it doesn't die, it can stay alive and get back to full health on its own without any help from anything else. Going back to the Terrans for a second. The Terrans, if their buildings get damaged enough, there's a point where it will burn down. So you have to make sure you repair them fast enough in that situation. But due to their mobility and due to their strength, and they have powerful units on their own, stuff like that. And so you don't need a huge force of Terran to make stuff work. The Protoss are even more so. Protoss individual units are stronger, but they also cost more overall. Like their starting costs are more expensive, whereas Terrans are pretty cheap, very versatile, and usually pretty powerful individually. That is, but obviously in numbers they're better off. In all cases, every unit is better off in numbers. And then the Zerg, that's all they are is numbers. Like their base attack unit gives you 2 units. Like when you build, it's called a Zergling, and whenever you build that unit, you're gonna get 2. And so the base unit costs roughly the same as like the Terran unit. Now the Terran unit is a Marine, he has a gun and he's range, and then the Zergling is a close range melee unit, but you get 2 each, and so you can easily overwhelm your opponent with a ton of Zerglings, depending on circumstance. Now, they don't have a whole lot of health. Someone's fire alarm is going off. If you have the right kind of defenses, you can easily just mow through them all and it won't matter. So you'll need other forces that aren't just Zerglings. Unless you can surprise and make it to where they basically pop up out of nowhere, and that's difficult to do. But nevertheless, that's where the term comes from my understanding, is that you have these people that just kind of throw bodies at the target, and that's how they win. And because the game doesn't adapt to player style, like if I were playing Terran, for instance, and I find out I'm playing against Zerg, there's going to be certain buildings and certain units that I would want to have in order to offset, what is called a Zergling rush. But EverQuest doesn't adapt to the player, so certain things just work. And the one rating guild that has all these numbers, it just works. Like, rarely do they fail. Like I said, they're about 95% successful. So, with all of that prologue, if you will, that introduction to this, is to help get to the point that I was getting at, is that because they have the numbers, they're basically at every possible target across the world of EverQuest, which is called Norath. And they're super competitive, and so wherever we went, they were there either before us or at the right time, right after us. And there's almost no limitations on. Apparently, there used to be some limitations when it came to amount of kills per hour or something like that. And then in certain zones, and especially this one specific zone where all the main dragon kills are, there are some. So just like anything else, there's effectively a form of government, which is through the game masters who run the game itself, and they're customer service, but they're also rules enforcers. They're effectively judge, jury, and executioner, if you will, and once they make certain decisions, those decisions stick until, for whatever reason, it's reversed. Sometimes there's temporary bans, sometimes there's permanent bans, depending on, kind of rule-breaking things. And, some rules have come about in order to allow a level of fair play. And one of them is what's called a bag limit. I don't know the whole details, but effectively, once you kill a number of dragons in this one area, you have like a 2-hour period where you can't kill anymore. You basically have to let other people do it. But it's only in that specific area, whereas the rest of the world is free reign. And everywhere we went, except for one place, we lost out. And we got 1 kill after almost 12 hours. It was closer to I want to say 8, but it felt like 12. It was a long day of waiting around. It was the military hurry up and wait, and then get nothing fucking done, even when we did do something. So hurry up and wait for our losing battle. So it's a little bit demoralizing, especially because the week before we did really good. So, yeah. It can be frustrating. But I'm tired still. And those hot dogs and that milk and the water kind of sitting with me, and now I feel like I want to go into food coma. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see. Hold on.